The deadlift. Um, I actually wrote an article not too long ago. I think it was summertime last year, where I did a 3-part series talking about the squat, which I never do, the bench press, which is my favorite, and the deadlift. My website is workingsets.com, where I put all things weight training and weightlifting related. Again, that's workingsets.com. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about the deadlift. When I first started lifting weights almost a little bit more than 20 years ago, and I started training with the strength coach at Long Island University, Coach Tabani. When he saw me struggling with the bench press, he told me that he was going to help me and show me how I can improve my bench press. So there was a question of, again, like I said, he was the strength coach of all of the teams at Long Island University, basketball, the golf team, baseball, so on and so forth. So his time was limited. So it was a question of, well, which type of lift do you want to learn how to do? The squat, the deadlift, or the bench? For me, it was the bench press, because when I was younger, the question always was, how much can you bench? As far as the deadlift is concerned, the deadlift was actually mostly only performed in the gym by serious power lifters, Olympic lifters, strongmen. I think that, and like I said, I wrote this in my article early last year, when you compared the three, I think years ago, the most popular lift in the gym was the bench press. Everybody wanted to do the bench press. There was always a line at the bench press. As far as the deadlift is concerned, the deadlift has recently become extremely popular. That is because of the popularity now of strong men like Eddie Hall, the Mountain, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Icelander's name, who starred in Game of Thrones, Brian Shaw. Also, the popularity of CrossFit. Deadlift is actually a staple in many of the CrossFit routines. So deadlifting now is extremely popular. If you go on Instagram or if you go on Facebook, you see everybody is performing deadlifts. Me personally, like I said, I break out the deadlift maybe once or twice a year, where I will perform deadlifts maybe for about 2 months during the spring, and then maybe about 2 or 3 months during the winter. So it's not a lift that I do all the time. I remember being told years ago that deadlifts were bad to do because it would expand your waistline. And for me personally, my waistline has already expanded enough. So that was one of the myths that was told about deadlifts. As far as bodybuilders, you don't even really see too many bodybuilders performing deadlifts. Bodybuilders that you do see performing deadlifts are usually guys who actually transitioned over from powerlifting over into the bodybuilding world. People like the late great Frank Colombo, 8-time world champion Ronnie Coleman, one of the most powerful bodybuilders on the planet, as well as bodybuilder Johnny O. Jackson. All of those guys were either strongmen or they started their careers as powerlifters. So you can find a lot of videos with Jackson and Coleman performing the deadlift. But most bodybuilders will usually stray away from the deadlift. But like I said, since deadlifting has now become more popular because of CrossFit, that is probably, I would say that deadlifting might even be more popular now than bench press. Everybody is performing them. Everybody has performed them. Even if you never stepped foot in the gym, you perform the deadlift. If you ever were moving boxes and you perform the lift the proper way, which is to bend at the knees first and then lift and not bend at the back, you perform the deadlift. If you ever picked up a newborn baby off of the floor as they were crawling on the floor and you bend at the knees and pick that baby up, you perform the deadlift. So you never had to step foot in the gym in order to perform a deadlift. The deadlift is probably, I mean, it's something I probably would actually Google and research just to answer my curiosity. But I would assume that the deadlift has probably been around since the beginning of time. Probably since they've been building the ancient pyramids. When they had to get a stone in place, they would bend at the knee and lift. Anyway, this is just a brief introduction. On the next part of this video, I'm actually going to perform the deadlift and talk about some of the techniques that I use.